House of Representatives approves establishment of Infrastructure Rehabilitation Agency. House urges federal government to focus more on exploring renewable energy. And House calls for an end to lingering fuel scarcity. It's now a matter of days to the new year 2023, but how productive has been 2022 for the House of Representatives? We'll take a look at that. Hello and thanks for joining us on You and Your Reps. I am Victor, as welcome. We begin the program by telling you that the House of Representatives has approved the establishment of a federal government infrastructure agency to be vested with the responsibility of repairing government property damaged by hoodlums.
The Federal Infrastructure Rehabilitation Management Agency Establishment Bill seeks coordination and regulation in the rehabilitation of property belonging to the federal government.
Management of government-destroyed properties by hoodlums, including repair, reconstruction of affected facilities.
The agency, when established, shall sustain a master plan and provide comprehensive database of all damaged property of governments. 6 bills were read the third time and passed, among them bill to establish Federal Medical Center Ranu in Kano State, sponsored by Kabiru Al-Hazarurum, and bill to establish Federal Medical Center Ondo State. The motion from Representative Babangida Ibrahim requesting provision of a tertiary health center in Funtua was adopted.
Only Funtua senatorial districts lacks the presence of the federal medical facility, despite its geographical distance from such facilities available in the states.
House members considered and approved 15 bills as the committee of the whole, while 6 bills passed first reading, among which is the bill seeking the establishment of a Nigeria Climate Change Fund. In response to the invitation extended to the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria to brief the House Thursday on recently introduced monetary policies, the governor sent a communication explaining his inability to attend and that he would come at the earliest possible time.
The CBN governor is a member of the delegation of His Excellency the President Muhammad Buhari, currently attending the USA Africa Summit in Washington, D.C. Please accept, Mr. Honorable Speaker, the assurance of the CBN governor's highest personal regards and consideration.
Meanwhile, the House Committee on Public Petitions is to investigate alleged allocation of more than 300 vehicles to a single auctioneer by the Nigeria Customs Service.
In the meantime, the House says development of strategies on sustainable energy by the public and private sector will enhance implementation of the Electric Power Sector Reform Act. A motion from Chukwuma Moji suggests that the federal government should focus more on exploring renewable energy like nuclear, solar, biomass, and wind to have desired impact.
Challenges in the power sector have been around for decades, as observed by the lawmakers. It's been on the front burner of successive administrations. House members are of the view that, in addition to other initiatives, establishing a clear investor-friendly framework on renewable energy could be the best option for sustainable growth in the sector.
If the private sector is allowed to invest in mini-grid capabilities to serve communities or local government areas, regions, or target industrial clusters, there will be a significant improvement in electricity distribution across the country.
And as campaigns by political parties for the 2023 election progress, the lawmakers called for restraint as the House adopts a resolution to investigate alleged attack on the campaign train of a senatorial candidate in Kogi State.
Suspected political thugs and hoodlums attacked the campaign train of the senatorial candidate of the People's Democratic Party (PDP) of the Kogi Central Senatorial District, Mrs. Natasha Akpoti Uduagan, during her rally from Okene to Adavi.
Other features at plenary include the third reading and passage of bills, among them bill that seeks to restrict use of foreign vessels in domestic waters for commercial activities.
To promote the development of indigenous tonnage and establish the cabotage vessel financing fund and for matters.
Bill to establish Nigerian Military Academy in Enugu State was considered and approved.
An establishment bill that is meant to upgrade perhaps an existing military institution to a degree awarding institution in the same direction.
And members have expressed concern over what they call lingering artificial fuel scarcity in the country. The lawmakers seem convinced that the scarcity is a deliberate plan of some independent marketers to derail the efforts of government.
The opinion shared by lawmakers aligns with intelligence on the current fuel scarcity in Nigeria. The motion from Representative Saidu Musa made reference to credible information revealing the hoarding of fuel to create scarcity and the sale of same at unregulated price.
Most of those fueling stations have resulted in selling fuel at over 300 naira per litre. It is observed with dismay that those who are gaining from this artificial fuel scarcity appear to be smiling home as a result of this ugly development, and this has the potency to provoke innocent Nigerians against the government.
House members urge regulators and monitoring agencies to collaborate with security agents to tackle the situation. The House adopted the motion from Representative Muhammad Al-Kali, urging the Federal Roads Maintenance Agency to repair dilapidated bridges in Jos North Basa Federal Constituency of Plateau State.
To every one of us, from our erudite grandfather, the father of anatomy.
Bill's parts at second reading are the bill to establish Federal Medical Center Sapele, Delta State, sponsored by Representative Efe Afe, and the bill to amend Standards Organization of Nigeria Act to expand its scope to investigate quality of petroleum products.
Happened to be a problem that originated here in the National Assembly. For now, it's supposed to be conversant.
Bill to amend coastal and inland shipping, as well as the bill to establish National Dermatology Hospital for research, training and treatment were considered and approved. Meanwhile, the Speaker of the Ghanaian Parliament met with the leadership of the House of Representatives to deepen parliamentary ties.
I must congratulate Nigeria because we've gone very, very far, starting from 1999 to date. We've been great improvements. And I pray that we will continue along that way.
As we work closely, we'll be able to give much more to our plea with you is to ensure, apart from the other platform that we created, the working relationship that does happen in terms of the parliamentary friendship. I think that will also improve our own relationship, to improve further in terms of our understanding and the delivery of the dividends of democracy to our country and nations.
This is the second visit from the Ghanaian Parliament to the House in the 9th Assembly.
And on the legislative terms and tools segment, we take a look at the term oversight. What is legislative oversight and how important is it? Let's find out from Chairman of the House Committee on Rules and Business, Abubakar Fulata.
All institutions of government have a standing committee in the House to look into their affairs. For example, in the 9th Assembly, we have about 106 or more, about 106 standing committees, ranging from finance, works, housing, internal affairs, interior, foreign affairs, all. We have about 106 standing committees. Now, the responsibility of these committees is to oversight the activities of ministries and extra-ministerial departments of government. Every year, the federal government, under the leadership of the president, lay budgets for all ministries and government agencies. Now, it is the responsibility of ministers now, directors, secretaries of those government agencies, to come to the relevant committee in the National Assembly to defend those budgetary items. Now, after the appropriation bill is signed into law, it has become an act, it is now the responsibility of the National Assembly to make sure that the monies so appropriated are expended in line with the Appropriation Act. This House now, the relevant committee of the House, will visit those ministries and cite physically what was done with the money so appropriated. The relevant committee will now come back, write a report, and then lay before the House for consideration. Now, the import of this oversight is for the House to make sure that, yes, the amount is appropriated, has been judiciously used. This would provide the basis for an increase or decrease in the budgetary allocation of that respective ministry or government agency in the next appropriation year. Where there are malfeasance or infractions, it will be reported to the House. Then the House will now direct what is to be done.
And the Chairman, House of Representatives Ad Hoc Committee investigating the structure and accountability of joint venture business and production sharing contracts of the NNPC, Hassan Fulata, has been speaking on the committee's work. You and your reps asked him about the committee's findings and handicap.
While about 60% of all the oil companies have made submissions, none of them has made 100% compliance. Some have avoided completely appearing. It may lead us to subpoena or even signing a warrant of arrest, but we are following due process to get everybody into the public hearing, and then we finally collect everything and submit our report to the House. Most government institutions, Office of the Accountant General, the NNPC, the Auditor General, Accountant General, have all cooperated with the committee, with the exception of the Office of the Chairman, Federal Inland Revenue, who seems to have a lot of things to hide in terms of tax returns made by those companies. We've issued him with 6 summons on one subpoena to appear, but he refused to appear. So we have only one option left for us. We'll discuss with the leadership of the House with a view to getting compliance from the Chairman, Federal Inland Revenue Service. That's the issue. They have been violating the JV agreement with impunity. They have not complied with the CAFA certificate requirement. And we are charging them with gross violation of our tax laws. They have They have defrauded Nigeria of billions of dollars. And we've told them that if at the end of our report we find that they have not produced enough evidence to extricate themselves from the allegations, we are going to lay our report before the House, and then we are going to make recoveries. We're going to adopt a resolution requesting EFCC and other institutions, other related institutions, to make full recoveries of amounts standing against their names. We are also going to send our reports to their respective governments, especially for those multinationals, the 5 multinational oil companies, so they will also take appropriate actions against them. The most serious challenge is that of cooperation. Cooperation from a lot of oil companies and 1 or 2 government institutions, especially for Federal Inland Revenue, which is critical to this investigation. But the chairman has consistently evaded appearance. On 2 occasions, he sent a special assistant, which we thought is a slight on the Institution of National Assembly, to send an assistant to represent us. We want him to appear in person. And so far, he has evaded our summons. We found out that a lot of the companies are in violation of our tax laws. This is the most violation. And as a result, Nigeria has lost billions of dollars to those companies.
The recent policy of the Central Bank of Nigeria to limit cash withdrawals has continued to generate concerns. But what do ordinary Nigerians make of it? Let's get to the streets.
I think there's the good and bad side to it, but I don't think we are ready for the cash limit yet. I think there are certain policies have to be in place before the cash limits can be, put in place. So for now, we are a cash-driven economy. We are not yet ready to go cashless, and a lot of traders and businesses run on daily cash. So I don't think it's the right time, but I think it's a good policy.
Millions of Nigerians are suffering by that withdrawal because what they are telling us they are charging on cash withdrawal, you discover in your account what they will remove is more than that. As you see me, I don't even have ATM to operate. I don't use it because when you are trying to withdraw money, there are some people on the air hijack on your transaction. The money from you going to somebody, they will divert it to their own account. And when you get to the bank, they will not help you.
Actually, I don't buy the idea. You understand? Because why? If you ask a businessman, unlike a businessman that operates on millions of naira, you don't tell a businessman that operates on millions of naira that you withdraw 20,000 naira every day.
For the condition of Nigeria now, I don't buy the idea. Yeah, most of remote area for poor masses, I'm not sure that can go well with them because most of the local governments, there's no bank on it. Sometimes if you do transaction, it will not go through. You will go to the bank and report. It will take you some time for them to revise the money.
For those that do daily transactions, like the laborers, they don't even have account numbers. So how do you send money to them? You want to buy something on the street. How will 20,000 be enough for a daily transaction for those kind of people?
Need varies in Nigeria, and individual differences in area and aspect of life is playing a pivotal role. People do business, people travel, people do a lot of transactions on a daily basis that makes ends meet for them. But now that you are limiting them to mere tokenism as the maximum they can collect from their own money on a daily basis, it's quite not fascinating at all. In fact, it's nauseating.
It's been an eventful year, 2022, particularly as it precedes the general election. How productive has the year been for the House of Representatives? We engaged the Chief Whip of the House, Mohammed Tahir Monguno, to provide answers.
One of the major landmark decisions or legislation that the House has passed is that of the amendment of the Electoral Act. There is the need to reform our electoral processes to bring it in tandem with international best practices and also in consonance with the evolving technological world. And as such, the House and indeed the National Assembly passed the new Electoral Act Amendment Bill with a view to making robust provisions that will guarantee the transparency, the fairness, and the well-being of our elections, so that at the end of the day, the elections will meet the yearnings and aspirations of Nigerians and it will be rancor-free. That piece of legislation has the capacity of revolutionizing our electoral processes to bring it, not only to bring it in tandem with international best practice, but to guarantee a free, fair, and transparent process that will be acceptable to all and sundry. And it has already commenced operations, and Nigerians will live to see the benefits that will accrue from the robust reforms of the electoral process through the instrumentality of the Electoral Act in the 2023 elections. Again, the House has succeeded in maintaining the January to December budget timeline cycle. The House expeditiously passed the 2022 budget before the end of the year, for which the President also assented to it before the end of the year. And Nigerians got the full benefit of a complete year budget cycle with all its attendant advantages of bringing dividends of democracy to their doorsteps. The House deserves a pat on the back for that. And within the year, also, the National Assembly has embarked upon major renovation of its facilities to make it ready for the incoming 10th Assembly, because since the inception of the Assembly, the building has not undergone major renovation. It's in a state of complete dilapidation. And as such, it becomes incumbent upon the leadership of the National Assembly to embark upon this major renovation, to give it a facelift and to make it more conducive to operate within the confines of modern technological world, because the National Assembly will go tech, will try as much as possible to discourage the issue of, for example, paper exchanging hands, other paper printed and what have you, whereby everything will be done on digital. The whole process is going to be digitalized.
What a year. All eyes are now on 2023 as the nation counts down to the general election. We'll also be looking forward to the 10th Assembly as the 9th gradually winds down. And that's been you and your reps for this week. We appreciate your company. I'm Victor, as we'll see you next time.